You are watching Hillsborough Television, programming that keeps you informed about the services and activities of your county government.
Welcome to this edition of Beyond Today on the Road. I'm Ray Charmonti, your host for Beyond Today and Assistant Executive Director of the Hillsborough County City-County Planning Commission. We're in the Channel District of downtown Tampa, the center of Hillsborough County, and really the Tampa Bay region, where we have most of the entertainment and employment developments occurring. And it's very exciting. As a planner 25 years ago, I did a tour of this area, and never in my wildest dreams did I realize that it would develop in this way. And in that short span of time, we've seen a lot of new projects come online. In fact, in downtown, there was no new building south of Kennedy Boulevard. And if you think of that, that's very exciting to think in the last 25 years what we've accomplished. But even more exciting is what we're going to accomplish in the future. Today's show will feature different projects that are occurring in the Channel District, the area where the banana boats, for those Tampa natives that remember old Tampa, used to unload their wares. Well, this whole area is undergoing a transformation, and we're here today to talk about future planning efforts and how that area is going to be transformed.
The Channelside area is just exploding. It's unbelievable what's happening down here. I'm sitting here looking around at the terminal building for cruise ships. Next door, the Hogan project that's coming along. It's going to be absolutely beautiful. Their leasing is going well. Across the street, a new parking garage, a beautiful facility. Down the street, a new Port Authority building that's going to house the World Trade Center. One group out of Texas just bought 2 square city blocks down here for apartments. The city owns a huge piece of property, almost 11 acres, right behind the train station, with the railroad track that abuts it, that goes all the way to Orlando. Imagine people coming in here by train if they want to and hopping off right here at the Channel District. There are still plans for a large tower to be built with a restaurant on top. One of the things that's going to make the Channel District so unique and so wonderful is that a trolley is going to tie this area together with downtown and Ybor City. For instance, in 2 years, you're going to have 750,000 people coming into the Channel District on cruise ships. That's over double the amount of people that live in the city of Tampa. And they're here to spend money, they're here to see Ybor City, they're here to see the Hogan project, and just look around at one of the most wonderful and dynamic cities in the country.
The Channel District Council is a group of property owners in the area, and basically we have a very well-organized group of people, and we liaison with developers, people interested in the area, as well as the city and the county and the Port Authority in fostering the redevelopment of the Channel District. We've been working very diligently with the city for many, many years on trying to foster things such as a community redevelopment agency and tax increment financing and general improvements in the infrastructure.
Well, we're really excited about this planning effort in the Channel District, which we consider to be a key part of downtown. And I think the important aspect is to deal with it as a part of downtown. Before I came to Tampa and I looked at maps of the total downtown area, I was fascinated by the total waterfront along the Garrison Channel and the Ybor Channel. Recognized when I got here that the railroad tracks and the expressway tend to act as a separator, and yet with all the things that are going on here, it's truly integrated. We just need to make sure that the new property owners and the old property owners are involved and committed to the kinds of things that can happen here. We look for new and innovative ways of making these things happen.
The Expressway Authority is here today to talk about our plan to build a new gateway entrance into downtown Tampa. It's a project that actually starts out in Brandon with an extension of 3 miles of new roads in Brandon, a parkway that's built in a park-like setting with a recreational trail and a lot of amenities for bicyclists and for pedestrians, but also a high-speed access onto the expressway to downtown Tampa. Between I-75 and downtown Tampa, we're building a reversible bridge, a new bridge that's being built in the median of the expressway that will be bringing traffic into Tampa in the morning for workers downtown, and then reversing in the afternoon, going back to Brandon. In downtown Tampa, along the Channelside area, we'll be completely rebuilding Meridian Street, which is an aging industrial road today, about a half-mile long, turning that into a new boulevard with landscaping, architecture, and connection to 5 city streets. So the Channelside area and the waterfront area of downtown Tampa will now become part of the city downtown system. Will all be connected with a streetcar and links to Ybor City, and this will become new access into what will be the future nighttime entertainment district of Tampa.
The City of Tampa is proud to be building a streetcar project through the City of Tampa, beginning at the Convention Center and winding its way through the Central Business District and through the Channelside District into Ybor City. The line will be 2.3 miles of rail with 8 streetcars, air-conditioned, and they will be run by 600 volts of direct current with overhead catenary lines powering the streetcar system. There will be 12 station stops, 10 of which will be built during the construction of the streetcar with 2 future stations. Streetcars themselves will be out of metal construction. They will mirror the older streetcars of the 30s and 40s that used to roam the city streets of Tampa. They will be painted the same colors of yellow and a burgundy roof. The streetcars will hold approximately 80 people sitting and standing, and they will run probably on a basis of about every 10 to 15 minutes at each station stop.
We're here pursuing the Pinnacle of Tampa Bay, which is a 625-foot entertainment complex. It has its focal point is a tower. In the very top of it, there are 4 floors. There's an indoor and outdoor observation deck, a 400-seat revolving restaurant, a private facility which includes a kitchen, and then a jazz lounge. In the lower section, there are 3 floors, a family entertainment center, some retail, specialty retail space, interactive education museum, along with, on the very top of that, a live restaurant that will have live performances of concerts and such. We have been in pursuit of this project for the better part of 5 years. Well, when we started this project, there were very few things happening down in the zone, while the whole undertaking had begun to reconvert the zone to an entertainment zone. We were at the time trying to do a project that was roughly $75 to $80 million, which was difficult to finance back in those days. Now the project has grown to $120 million, and the financing is very, very close to being completed. The entire zone in and of itself is right now at the height of the entire redevelopment.
We are in the Channel District, which is right now a very hot place to be in the city of Tampa. We purchased the property and developed the Artist Unlimited concept about 9 years ago. Right now, Artist Unlimited is in the 10th year. We have 44 working artist studios. We have 2 galleries for display where we use works from artists all over the country. We just completed our sculpture garden, which we received an award for by the Forbes Foundation in New York City. This is a beautiful, beautiful public facility. It can be used for rentals, and of course we're going to be planning a major national artist to do a sculpture show for us in the year 2000. Artist Unlimited is one of the first success stories in the Channel District, and we welcome what's happening now. We welcome the new development in the Channel District because we know we're an anchor part of this, and this will be very good for our concepts here in the Channel.
You know, the aquarium has been down here in the Channelside District, well, it'll be 5 years in March. And when we first came on the site, there wasn't a whole lot happening down here. And now, you've got to come down here to see what's going on. We're very thankful for the leadership in our community, the mayor and many others, to really help define this vision about what the Channelside can be. And of course, it's a great success story in terms of our industry. The Tampa Port is a major economic engine to our area, and there's soon to be a lot more fun entertainment coming in. We're really getting the whole complete package. What was originally envisioned many years ago is now beginning to come to fruition. Here at the aquarium, we're very excited about that. Florida Aquarium is positioned very uniquely. We not only have room to add exhibits in the aquarium, but we also have the ability to add exhibits around the aquarium. So we're looking forward to some outdoor exhibits to help enrich this great area that we have here in the Channelside. So you really do need to see what's going on down there.
Thank you for joining us for today's episode of Beyond Today, dealing with the redevelopment of the Channel District, the center of Hillsborough County. Please tune in to our next show, and thank you again for thinking beyond today.